I've been trading Vince's methods about a year now, and I've managed to more than double my bank. It's very simple to use, and that's what I love about it mainly, simplicity. Without a doubt, simplicity. There's no, you've got to do this, plus that, then take that away, and it's nothing complicated at all. It's just nice and easy. I suppose the simple things work best, don't they? My advice is start small, build the money up. I've tried numerous systems, money-making systems, Betfair systems, all the rest of it. This works a lot easier than that, so just stick to the rules and you should be okay.
With me, I take no sponsorship, as you probably notice. You pay, I'm fee-based. You pay me a fee, you get the results. There's no advertising, there's no banners, there's no sponsorship. That means that I don't have to say what my sponsor tells me. Okay, whenever you go to an event and it's sponsored, you don't have freedom of speech. All right? The title of today, the whole day, you've seen the signs as everything. It's called Absolute Returns and Wealth Preservation for the Next Decade. All right, so what are we talking about? Well, the next decade, we know what that is. We know that that's 10 years. But what is absolute returns? Well, basically, it's the ability to trade long and short. Even after all these falls that we've had in the market, there are many people that still don't understand you make money from short selling. Okay, and myself and my guests that we're coming today, we all trade markets both ways. So just because you might hear that, I like the commodity market, it doesn't mean I can't also have a large short position as well. So that's the first thing we want to get that clear. The other thing you're going to learn more from me today than ever before is international markets in local currencies. All right? Most of you know I started off as a foreign exchange trader, and we'll be talking about the foreign exchange market, how it works, who really makes money. But the thing you want to start thinking about is when you buy a stock or an investment, you are making two trades. You are buying the stock, Nestle for example, and then you also have another trade, which is the currency trade. Now, in the last few years, the byproduct, which has been the currency, let's stay with Nestle for example, the Swiss franc has appreciated greatly against the pound. So not only have I made money on my Nestle shares, I've made money on the currency. So you've got to get out of your head pounds, euros and dollars. Right now I have no pounds to my name, I'm net short the pound. And I don't think that position is going to change for a long, long time. And I'm not that keen on the euro either. But I want you to understand I'm investing in lots of different currencies, including South African rand, Brazilian real, not necessarily as a currency trade, but I'm buying stocks listed in those currencies. So this is the thing we've got to understand. What's the point of you making $1 million if it isn't going to buy anything? And this is the big thing that's going on at the moment, and most of you haven't realized yet what's going on. But by the end of today, you'll wake up and you'll realize what's going on with the monetary system, and it's basically that this stuff is just being printed. The Dow can easily go to 100,000, right? And I think we may see some outrageous figure at some stage. If you followed Zimbabwe and looked what happened to the stocks in Zimbabwe, they went up. Now, this stuff is paper, okay? And it's becoming worth less and less. And you say, well, the Dow's at 10,000 today, it was at 10,000 10 years ago. So you've wasted a decade of time, plus you buy less now than you could in 10 years ago. So how can we get around this? Well, we can diversify assets across currencies, against countries, financial institutions. I want to be quite clear. Some of you seem to have had a bit of a sigh of a relief that everything seems okay. I have to tell you, it's not okay. The banks are still in serious, serious trouble. All they did, they say in America, they've kicked the can down the road a little bit. They've put off problems, they've refinanced. It's like paying one credit card off with another credit card to give you another 6-12 months. Do not think for a minute that the banking system has miraculously healed itself. When I'm talking about the banking system here, I'm talking about the UK, I'm talking about the US, and I'm talking about Europe, I'm talking about the West. There are some very, very well-managed banks and very financially sound areas, and we'll talk a little about those today. The idea is you get your money into those areas and get your money out of the rubbish areas.
I went to one of Vince's first trading seminars back in 2001, I think, or 2002, so a long, long time ago. A lot of sort of spread betting then, and it's been quite successful. Personally, I'd say it's no bullshit. It is as it is. very simple method. ShareScope is brilliant because it just gives you the trades as they are. And the methods, they're not complicated, which is what I like, because I'm not a day
This
trader.
is the pound going back to 1971. And the reason why it goes back to 1971 is really where we started trading. We hit parity to the dollar in 1985, and that's when I started. I actually started in September the 2nd, 1985, for NatWest at the World Money Centre. So it was an interesting time for the currency market. Where are we now? Well, we're around the 152, 53 mark. I think we're going back down to the 140 against the dollar to start, and then 130 even possible. And it's not a case of I like the dollar or the pound, it's like who's the ugliest of the two. Norway or the UK? Which one do you want? This is going back to 2000. I'm doing a lot of stuff today in decades. 10 years is a fairly good chunk to talk about investments in. You know, of course, we trade shorter term as well, but a 10-year chunk is a pretty good time frame. So what's happened here? We've roughly lost, what, about 30%. The Canadian. Say, the euro. Jim Rogers' view is that the euro in its current format will not exist. I tend to agree that what will happen is at some stage or the other it's going to break up and you'll get Germany go off and go back to the Deutschmark or something new. The weaker currencies will go back, countries will go back to doing what they've always done, which is print money. Because again, the euro, although it was a new currency, it was based on an old system, a fiat system. If the euro was based on something tangible, then that would have actually been very interesting. And you know, when I'm talking about tangibles, people always say, oh, the gold standard. It could be Big Macs, and we'll talk about the Big Mac index in a second. It could be anything, but if you give me a piece of paper, I want to know that there's something behind it apart from...
I've followed Vincent now for the last couple of years, from roughly 2005, when I bought his first home course, and I've been following Vince quite consistently since then. I started off pretty much thinking that I could be smarter than Vince. I think I could tweak his systems and yeah, I would do better. But as we all know, when you overtrade, when you don't use money management, and you don't listen to what Vince says, you always think you're smarter than everybody else. You're always going to find that Vince is right. So I've come back to Vince now, and I believe whatever he says, he's done more than once. He's had over 24 years of experience. He knows what he tells us now in the lectures works. Listen to Vince, he knows what he's doing. He's done it all before, the last 24 years. Try not to overtrade.
Let's have a look at this stock, and I own this stock, by the way. This is going back to 2005. The minus signs are obviously losing trades. The green, without the minus, are winning. What do you notice about the losing trades, and what do you notice about the winning trades?
Winners are big, losers are small.
Exactly. Winners are big, losers are small, which is always what we taught. And also, do you notice the days in the trade? 146 days, 120 days, 130. What's going on with the days? We're in a winning trade longer and a losing trade shorter. All right? Stock is Baidu, which a lot of you already own. Now, when I did that, it was at 467. Last night, I think we were at, 530, 535. I haven't checked it for the last few days. Baidu is the Google of China. For those that don't know what that is, you can just trade it. I'm not saying this is your first trade, by the way. A $500 or $532 stock is a rich stock. What I used it for is the example of just literally